Okay, I'm going to do another presentation on unresolved symbols and where things can go wrong. So when I actually looked into this a little bit, I don't have the exact answer for this one, but it's really strange. So, and you got to be very, very careful, and it gets to the point where you can't just simply build things, and it makes things just crazily tedious. I already had a clue as to what might be going on when I found that some of my programs didn't like the library GL that I built, and then when I decided to use Haikus instead of mine, all of a sudden I was able to play Foo Billiards. I did a readelf on that file, and I found that there was some library called Library Translation, and there weren't any of the X11 libraries linked to that library GL, which is the Mesa libraries. Um, and it would just the program would try to start and have unresolved symbols, and that would be it. Well, the deal is, if you don't, it's dangerous to have an undocumented um, library with the exact name that all the open source apps are expect to find and want to link to, but it's not actually the library that they think they're linking to. The library GL on Haiku is not library GL; it's something else. Got to be called something else. So that makes a real problem with the POSIX layer. Now, in the case with Scummvm, which is it's important. And again, we don't have write access to the system anymore to remedy this issue if we wanted to. All we could really do is uninstall. I don't know if the system would be able to remain running if we were to uninstall library GL. Now, then maybe that's the way that the graphic user interface is actually able to end up appearing on our screens and things like that. But it really should have been called something else because it doesn't use X11. It uses library translation. So when the program's linked to it, it's a nice surprise to find out that I'm gonna get some integration with some programs, and I'm looking at the games that are available in Pkgsrc and eyeing the ones a little more closely that have SDL, and I think, well, that's good, but then there's other problems that take place, and I think what's happening is that we've decided to call things that may not be what we're saying they are. Or it's just that there's version differences that are taking place. And I think in this latter case of what I'm going to talk about, Scummvm, there's a version difference at least. So I'm going to try to start Scummvm right now. And actually now I have 3 different ways to play Leisure Suit Larry. It's strange. And the best one actually happens to be Scummvm, but DOSBox is pretty damn good too. There's this program called Sarian that I'm not going to get into because that's not really the point of what I'm saying here, but the keyboard really doesn't work. That uses an SDL layer. Okay. So let's try to start this Scummvm. Unresolved symbol. Okay, so I've built this, right? And apparently when Scummvm built, the makefile had the instruction -ljpeg. Now what Pkgsrc tries to do is provide the libraries that you've built and put them in something called the build link. And those seem to be available also to link with as well. In fact, let me just, what I'm going to do? I'm going to show a difference here. I'm going to do something, and then I'll talk about how this happens. So here, I'm in my library directory, and it's called libjpeg so.9.1.0, and it's a symlink to this libjpeg so.9. I'm going to take the one I've built and put it over here. I'm going to take the one that came from Haiku, and I'm going to put it in here. Now let's review this. Let's just go back here. I've renumbered the one that's from Haiku. The number that comes from boot system library is libjpeg.so.9.0.0. I renumbered that so the symbolic link will appear. Right? And just in case you don't want to believe what I have to say here, let's just do this. So let's go here to boot system library. There's the 900. Go ahead and I'll just place it in here, file, paste, and then I'm just going to renumber this, and you're going to notice that those two other broken link symbols will suddenly magically turn into good links. There you are. Okay, now let's see what happens when I try to run Scummvm. Ah, it runs. Hey, okay. What's this? Oh, I can plug these Larry. Oh, good. Okay. So here's the deal. Better just get out of this thing. Let's talk about Haiku crapware now. Haiku wears crapware, right? This would be, you know, you just say, oh, it's Haiku crapware, you know. Haiku wears crap, you know. No. The deal is that, you know, when this thing linked up, it linked up against an older library JPEG. And Scummvm is one of a lot of packages that are out there. And what's the difference between this library JPEG and the one that I built? It has nothing to do with library Z because I have a library Z that's going to make symbols. In fact, it actually specified what the symbol was, some kind of JPEG resync to restart. And basically it's saying that the one I built doesn't got that, but the one that comes out of Haiku has that. So if I'm going to build something in Pkgsrc, I got to be careful. Or in Haiku Porter. If I've built my own library JPEG in Haiku Porter and it's a different version than the one that comes stock with Haiku, and for whatever reason, when it does its linking, it links with the library JPEG that's in the boot system boot system library directory, and not the library JPEG that's in the .self, whatever it is, that's built through Haiku Porter, it's going to have the same problem. You're going to get an unresolved symbol. In the case of Library Mesa, when I ran readelf, it was very clear that, you know, we're not linking against the same stuff. With the library JPEG, they're both linked against library root, as you can see. The question is why is that symbol different between mine and the other one? Well, I got 9.1 and it's got 9.0. So what I really want to do is, before I build Scummvm, is I'm going to want to make sure that I'm including library JPEG in the build link. Now here's the problem when you're transitioning from making, you know, Pkgsrc port. This is a portability issue actually for Pkgsrc, in part. So Pkgsrc, you know, is mostly going to be used by NetBSD, and NetBSD is probably going to come with a library JPEG installed to start with, I would imagine. Or, you know, when people build packages in NetBSD, they don't have two choices. They don't have two different library sets to choose from. They got one. And it's in user, you know, user package or something like that, right? Well, in this case, we actually got two. And so Scummvm linked against the other one. And so it's not going to start. There's an unresolved symbol. So, you know, when I go to try playing my games, it's like a crapshoot whether I'm going to get an unresolved symbol or not. And that's a big issue. So you really got to keep track of your versioning and stuff like that. And I don't know what version of JPEG they're building with Haiku Portal. Let's see. Haiku Portal. I mean, no one thinks when they make a recipe, no one's thinking about this. They don't know. Oh, there was a new function, a new symbol introduced in the new JPEG. Right? And who knows where it is. Just looking for it. Probably maybe app graphics or something. You probably do have it somewhere. App libs or lib apps or dev libs or dev apps or dev games or game devs or games emulation. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Could it be Haiku apps? Dev libs. What is it? We're going to call it libjpeg. We're going to call it JPEG. What are we doing here? We're going to call it JPG. We're going to call it... I'd be curious to know, and I'd be curious to know if the package is actually marked broken, because then that would be why. Or if Scummvm is marked as broken, that would be why. I could look for a long time because now things aren't really are expected to be. Or I could search Haiku ports for libjpeg. ABI compliance checker. Scummvm, let's see what happens. Pull request, let's see. Changes to update the recipe for 1.6 in this version. Well, pull request means something different. That's Scummvm 1.6, and what are we using here? It's pretty complicated. Not really sure if I can figure out, but well, this could probably take me a while to investigate and figure out. I mean, I would like to know. It'd be nice to be able to solve something, but which is really what my intention is here. But the real problem here, and maybe experience has shown the people with their Haiku not to, but that is a real problem. So now you got to look for all the packages that have a dependency on library JPEG, and I'm just going to suspect that it's not. Those are all going to have unresolved sim problems. Or I could, put Haiku's library JPEG into my, what's the deal? Come on. And you're going to have that issue is going to come up whether you're going to change root or not. But now I could probably actually enjoy some of these games I've built. I have to figure out. I tried, and you don't really know what the hell's going on. First I tried, oh, well, maybe I just need to rebuild library JPEG. That's not it. It's what linked with what. So, in fact, let me just see if I could figure this out. What I gotta do is actually restore my library JPEG back. Well, links are back. Going to the work directory for Scummvm. Scummvm. See what the makefile wants to do. And that's the problem. I got two sets of libraries that are the same. We're using Clang. So I'm not really familiar with that, so I don't know, you know, libs equals what. It's probably easier to figure out, actually. I think I vaguely remember Clang. So let's see. It links with the number of libraries. I mean, the question is, where are they? What do I edit to? And how do I hard path it to make sure that it links with the library I want to link with? If you get stuck in the mire doing this kind of stuff, it changes the whole landscape. It turns the whole compiling process into a giant impossible task. Because there's too many, you know. I can't even tell this damn thing links. Now there is a setting inside of Pkgsrc called it's tools or something under here under Haiku, and there's this question: is blah 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 built in? So you know, like JPEG, is JPEG built in? Maybe. But I don't really actually see that. These are all the platform tools. JPEG isn't amongst it. I mean, basically when library tool or whatever looks for the library it wants to link with, it searches the system path first. And the real answer probably is for me to look and see whether the Pkgsrc makefile has for Scummvm here, whether it's got under graphics, it does not have JPEG. And the JPEG package has to have something called build link. It's easy to create, assuming this is it. It does have a, okay, so this will populate the build link with the JPEG thing. But which one's it going to pick? The build link seems to be able to mimic what would be available in the system directory, but yeah, I'm just not so sure, actually. So all these build link things are pretty much the same. So, when I was talking about Haiku-ware, crapware. Now, when people build their now Haiku isn't pathed in a normal way. Some people are building stuff by hand. They may actually have some issues. They may I'll just make the JPEG thing myself rather than, have to pass compile options at every single one of these builds to get up to this big package I'm making that's kind of cool that people want to use. I'm going to put up a Haiku-ware. JPEG could be one of them. There are going to be other ones I haven't even identified yet. And they'll have the same problem. I mean, they'll have the exact same problem. Unbelievable. So I got to redo my build of and hope it doesn't link with the library JPEG that's Haiku's. It's going to link with mine. Why do I care about that? Well, because these packages build, it actually embeds a library location in it, in the executable. So it's going to look for, even though it links with the library JPEG that's over here and, boot system develop library, it actually is only going to look for that library in boot home package library, not boot system library. We have a different version going on here. Scummvm, it takes about 10 minutes. Or I could try to relink it. And I could try to go into the, I'll do a trick here. And do make replace. So I'm going to go to the work directory. Well, the problem I have actually is I don't know how to get that make file to actually link differently. And I also need to get my library JPEG in the build link. But I could just copy that in actually. So, where are we? Boot system. That's boot system. And then we got this third monstrosity, the non-packaged thing. So we gotta go through this again. Wait for all 5,000 files to count. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't feel like I have control over how this thing's going to link. I don't know how Clang picks its stuff to link. I could look at the makefile that Pkgsrc does and maybe try to get an idea. What does its makefile look like? We have our options and our hacks. That doesn't seem to have anything in it. It's done counting, so G J Cal. So if you end up doing all this work and half your shit's broken because some of the stuff isn't what they say it is, and some of the other stuff's an older version, and so or a newer version, or just things just never get in sync. JPEG, JS, there it is. Now, what happens when this stuff's in the build link? I think it's able to actually link with it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to delete the other one or replace one, which would be really nice if I could just replace that cancerous library JPEG, I'd be happy, but I can't. Of course, I don't want to go in the work directory. Now I gotta tell the package the build is not done, the install is not done. So we'll try to rebuild. That's pretty much a trick. You're really not supposed to do that. And hopefully this will be fairly quick, and it will only try to do the... it isn't going to do the linking stages. That means I gotta start all fucking over again. Yeah, it's already linked. Yeah, I didn't relink there at all, so just use what was already in place. So if I change the make file for Scummvm, it'll put it in there, so I can't cheat. So then, as you know, obviously as a human being that's not in the business of making packages day in and day out, no one wants to have to redo stuff that took way too much time to build in the first place because things aren't going to work. You know, and this is why Foo Billiards wouldn't work with the library GL. So you know, Pkgsrc is making an assumption that, you know, when any system that it happens to go into, the libraries are what someone would normally think of as what the library is supposed to be. So potentially, had I not just tried on a fluke to see whether the library GL that's in Haiku was going to help me be able to run my programs, every one of the programs that I've built would not work. Scummvm would not work. So I would have a bunch of crapware. Of course, I wouldn't have time to test all this stuff because there's just too many packages. And this is just completely undocumented. The versioning differences, it's really hard to fault anyway for that. But the library GL, that's like, what the fuck? So, for Haiku users to be able to actually use Pkgsrc and not have all their graphical programs completely screwed by the program's linking up to a library GL that's not a library GL, they have to actually make sure that in every instance that library GL is going to be used or linked to, which is may or may not be reasonable to find that there's a build link 3 in there, and I don't even know if that's going to solve it. So I got to now go on my work, and if it doesn't, then that's just like, okay, well, we're screwed, right? We got to hand edit and hand path all of our library GLs and our library JPEGs and everything else to point to Pkgsrc, or, you know. So our stuff will work, because we're going to make libraries that really aren't what they're called, but we have a POSIX compatibility layer, though, right? going to work like here. I'm just going to rename the thing, actually. I've already given up on my own library GL. I'm now using the one from Haiku. I shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't have to do that. I'm just going to make sure that I have... You won't have a big fat warning about that on the, porting to Haiku page. We got libraries that are called the same thing as the other ones, and was actually built with the same source, but we decided to link to some other stuff. So we don't have the same function calls, and so when you try to build anything that depends on Mesa or Glut, cool programs that have graphics, it's going to break on you. That's okay. Oh yeah, and then you can't do anything about it. Sorry, read only. Of course, this stuff never, you don't think about this stuff when you're making a package manager, but who would ever imagine making a package manager is going to be something that involves making the system read only? It has nothing to do with the other. Alright, so I've put in JPEG into the build link, and I'll see if that solves it. I don't know if there's a way to prefer the build link over the other one. But unless that's in there, so there's a on the Pkgsrc end of it. It's a real tedious task to make a connection between every library that's on the make files in the package and build links that appear in the Pkgsrc list. The Pkgsrc, they've done some heroic, just some really awesome features. I mean, the build link transforms a godsend for this platform. And in fact, that is probably the way to go. If I could build link transform a hard-pathed library JPEG, I don't think that's possible, unfortunately. I don't think so. Couldn't be. Because I tried when I was doing wine, I was working on wine a little bit here. And I pretty much, everything Andrew Hudson said is still, that I'm able to verify is true. When he gets, at the beginning, it's got the LD library path. I guess I can do a video, I can do some work, presentation on that, so it's clear as to what the LD library path thing is to people that aren't as skilled as Andrew Hudson. And I'm not. But I was able to get further along because of what he has on the wine wiki. And basically, wine, you have to get it to, I'm going to upload some patches to get at least some part of the way through the build, and you have to change the configure script to change the variable LD underscore library underscore path to LD, from LD underscore library underscore path to just plain old library underscore path. And then it will build pretty far, then it'll start complaining about undefined references and elf headers and things like that. And I wasn't able to sort out whether I just didn't pick the right header to put in the source or if we're actually missing those functions. And I stopped because it's taking too long. I think I've come to realize that we've forked Qt. We have our own version of Qt up at Haiku Porter. What the negative thing about that is the more of these packages we end up forking, the harder it is for us to maintain it, and so then it kind of gets us stuck back in time. or to move forward. Or when Qt5 comes out, or we do the forking process all over again. It was probably a lot of work. I don't even see, and then it just downloads its own source. But I'm really looking, after several attempts at trying to build Qt4 with source. I am at a loss to know exactly how anybody would have that has not built X11 or just know that X11 is able to build in any shape or form in the system, would ever be able to build the Qt4 patched or not. That's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, so we're doing a lot of stuff kind of like on our own. We're kind of doing things our own way, but we get that we interact with other variables and environments, and we don't tell people about this stuff. And then bystanders flame the fires by saying that the software over at Haiku is crap. No, it's not. It was probably built perfectly soundly in the way that any good porter would want to build it. The problem is that in the inner workings of the operating system that they're functioning in, things aren't the way they normally are. And especially with that Mesa library, it's like, what's going on with that? Alright, so it's creating the toolchain wrappers, and I'm just going to look right and see if the JPEG, it should end up populating Scummvm isn't really a game, it's a compatibility layer, kind of like Wine or something. Okay, so library, am I getting... I should end up... There's my library JPEG. Okay, so I really do hope that this links up with library JPEG, and then I'll do a make replace, and then I'll see if the damn thing runs. And if it does, I'll be happy to know that, because then I got to keep a close eye. If I'm getting other unresolved symbols for library JPEG, then I got to get that one line, the build link, and all the build link does is copy over from package source into this directory here, stuff that you need. I don't know how it gets the compiler to use these things rather than stuff in the system, or if it even brings it to that choice. I don't know. You can see here I have library GL. So one in that build link, and that library GL is Haiku's. But to tell you the truth, I don't like the fact that it wasn't advertised, but if I knew to start with, just to put that into my own package source library subdirectory, as soon as I get library GL built, I won't have any problems. The problem happens when you've got different symbols and different parts, a different makeup to libraries that have the same name. Ultimately, when the link takes place, it's not looking for, let's see, where's libjpeg? It's not looking for libjpeg specifically 9.1.0. When I do the readelf, it's looking for libjpeg.so.9, which is what's in Haiku's, system directory. So what really adds insult to injury is this implication that somehow, I'll just tell you right now, library JPEG is a very straightforward build. I didn't patch or anything. There's nothing to patch up. And you build it. So, when someone gets an unresolved symbol of library JPEG, when they try to open Scummvm, oh, it's more crapware from Haiku. That's adding insult to injury. What kind of a forensic investigation would have to take place to be able to figure out all the little differences between what's built in the change root and what's in the system. Come on. Now, what's very interesting, actually, I think there are going to be some broken packages in Haiku Porter if and when they try to link with the Mesa libraries, actually. If they're trying to link with the Mesa libraries that are the ones that were actually built with Haiku Porter. Because I know the Haiku Porter downloads the real Mesa. And it tries to link, as far as I know, to the libraries that Mesa expects to link to, not the Mesa that's in boot system. However, that may not be a problem if somehow the Haiku Porter built programs take precedent over the ones that come stock with the system. Alright, so it's a very clean build. It works fairly well. It just takes a while. It's pretty big. Really, once you get all the dependencies, there really aren't any issues. It's just works really nicely. I just wish I knew how makefiles and Clang worked. And who knows? What I'm trying right now may not even be the solution. I may have to do some research and see if it's even possible for me to use anything but at least with CMake, the version of library JPEG that I've created in Pkgsrc. And what's so silly about this whole thing is sometimes you can't build the package because the dependency library JPEG isn't built, but it's right over there in the system. Or Mesa, but it's right over there in the system. Oh, no, you can't. Now, there is something called built-in. You can decide. But sometimes those choices aren't really clear as to what you should do. Well, I'm going to take that back. I'm thinking about that more. This is something that really annoyed me to start with about Pkgsrc. I will say that. And nothing in this rule is absolutely perfect. So I wish that Pkgsrc would not try to build anything that I already have in the system. Like Mesa. The system comes with Mesa in it, as far as I know. So, but the other Mesa, not the Mesa that you would build from source. But if I wasn't forced to build Mesa to build the other things in Pkgsrc, then I wouldn't have any of those problems, right? However, if some of the software that comes with Haiku is too old, sometimes the package wants a dependent package of a certain version or higher, right? If it doesn't have it, too bad. Then you're screwed if you don't have that option. So I guess that's what built-in's for, to be able to make those choices. Problem is, you don't really know what choices you should probably make until you've had some experience with the whole thing. And I don't know the answer right now. I kind of expect that it's going to use the library JPEG that I've now successfully placed in the build link. But, a native NetBSD user isn't going to need to place library JPEG in the build link because, well, it's already in, NetBSD's stuff. Or the only way to install it is if you build it yourself or package at it. Someone else built it for you. Maybe it doesn't come with, there's only one. There's never going to be two sets of library JPEG floating around, or, so I don't know what could be done about that to be preventive in making a tool that's as good and portable as Pkgsrc is. In a lot of ways, Pkgsrc is very well suited for as this continues to go, for Haiku, especially with its ability to set out the common libraries, the math library, to substitute any instance of LSocket with LNetwork. You don't have to edit the text file. That kind of language sounds user-friendly, now doesn't it? Which was what some of the ideas behind what we do in Haiku is about. Now, the overall grand scheme of things, I wish it was more widely known that Mesa was built that way. But if that made the difference between me having a Haiku with these icons and things and not, I'm glad that that was done. That was an ingenious way to solve the problem. I just wish it was more well known to outside developers. But this thing with the library JPEG is just a matter of a different one being built in Pkgsrc than what's available in Haiku, and really I need to build against the one that's in Pkgsrc, not the one that's in Haiku, because the pathing is going to look for the library that's in Pkgsrc, not the library that's in Haiku. Meanwhile, I'm going to set that Scummvm package aside in case I want to package delete the one I'm making now. And it's, well, 13 megabytes, pretty big. But I've got all sorts of weird animals over here. I've got the Xorg with DRI enabled. I've got the library X CB with SHM, so I got a little, like we have half horses, half zebras floating around. I've got all these things kind of sitting here on my desk in my ductile platypus operating system with a POSIX layer, but without the completely writable temp directory. Alright, so we're moving along here. Scummvm opens up a lot of possibilities for games, and when I was first told about Scummvm, I may have mentioned this earlier, I didn't believe it. But it played Leisure Suit Larry perfectly. I mean, no issues. And the sound didn't sound all weird like it does in DOSEMU. Like, it played good and right. So they must have taken the work from Surian and improved on it. Or maybe they wrote it themselves, but there's actually 3 different ways that you can't believe without having to use DOS at all to run those games. Probably all the Sierra Online games, and those are probably all housed away at the Internet Archive in one of these mega packs of games that have been set aside for posterity. And even though they were written in the 80s, some of these games are entertaining in their own way. Alright, now we're in the GOB engine here. So in this case, and the end user is kind of like a victim here with the package source. It's like, oh, damn, And if I didn't have any experience with undefined, with symbols at all, or didn't try to figure that out, I'd just be like, oh shit, god damn, I can't build a goddamn thing in this system, So the pathing's important, the readelf's important. A couple of the readelf commands are, if you do a -D against whatever you're looking at, it'll tell you the pathing it's looking for, or what shared library was used if you use -ws. It'll go on forever, but it'll tell you about all the symbols that this thing has. So, to explain what these symbols are, these are all symbols over here on the right. So when Scummvm was built, it had a symbol that Haiku's library JPEG had that my library JPEG didn't have. So when Scummvm loaded up and linked, said, "Hey, library JPEG, give me your stuff," including, you know, what symbol was that? JPEG resync to restart. JPEG says, "I don't have a JPEG resync to restart." So Scummvm says, "Well, screw you, I'm not going to run." And it spits out unresolved symbols, -214, 747 even, I know, and they're all 241. It shouldn't be that. BOS had numerous numbers, so the numbers actually meant something. Let's see, Brown's got that in his book. You gotta believe me. Actually, I'm telling you, I'm not lying. Oh, I'm over my shifty eyes. Okay, let's see, where is it? I know it's somewhere in here. Really, I'm telling you. He had a list. Yeah, here we go. So they all meant something. But I tried looking this actual number up, and I don't see it in here. But it's got a couple pages of it. Maybe that's not in the B book, but it's in that, so use it. Still building. Hey, might as well. I'm doing this so if someone could look and actually print this out and put it in a header somewhere and make it spit these errors out rather than just the same number every fucking time. Yeah, you could push pause. Take a screenshot. Okay. In fact, Brown has released his book and given it projects, so I don't have to do that actually. But I mean, there's so many things to do. There's a limit as to the amount of work that people creating an operating system can do. Do I expect just because I ran my camera over that someone's going to do it? No, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to do it. It's a good idea, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. People have their limits, and that's just the way it is. Okay, so now I'm doing the Hugo engine, whatever that is. I'm hoping to be able to actually play Beneath the Steel Sky. In fact, I probably should have tried that when I had that library substituted in. But see, the other problem is it takes, how long does it take to build this from source? 10 minutes, 20 minutes. That's not big in the grand scheme of things, but when you're building thousands of packages, well, it matters. And then we have to do it over and over again. So let's say I get through this and I try it and I get the same damn symbol. Now what am I going to do? Now I got to go research and figure out how to get whatever the make file is in this circumstance, wherever the instructions are actually provided, to actually use one library versus the other to link, and then do it and do the run again. There's another 20 minutes. And then, the day goes by. You may get 2 or 3 of these done in a day if you're lucky, if you get a good build in the first place. If you don't, then there's a bunch of patches. Then you gotta hope your patches don't screw anything, especially, well, if it involves coding and you don't know what to do. Hi. In this case, there aren't any coding issues here, so that's good. How many damn engines does this thing have? Scummvm. Okay, I'm gonna call this Scummvm with Haiku JPEG. I'm going to put this in my collection of weird zoo animals. Okay, what's going on with the workling? So this Scummvm actually, probably should go under emulators. I mean, there are some games that work into it, but, So I'm over here in engines, I'm at Pkgsrc, I got all these to go. Or if I'm working backwards, I got all this way to go, so. I wonder if they have Syrian engines. Oh my god, there's a Sega? Not bad. They've done pretty damn good with this, and it looks pretty nice, actually. It really does. The interface for Scummvm there. Of course, right now my version is... maybe I could try Beneath the Steel Sky, but this damn takes forever to compile. Where's my... Did I throw that out? Yeah, stupid when I threw it out. Haiku's library JPEG. It's the golden ticket. Chocolate factory. JPEG, what do we got here? So I'm going to put this back. But it really makes things really kind of ugly when you have to do stupid stuff like this. And it's just a matter of the recipe. It's not like, oh, you should have used Haiku Porter. It's a matter of the recipe. It's a matter of the recipe and the matter of experience. If the recipe calls for... First of all, if the recipes don't even have a... I don't know how they work. But if they don't have a way to not build stuff that's built in fact, I don't think that's the case. I think you have to build everything. So even stuff that's already in there. So I actually think that this Scummvm should probably be marked as broken. I would be surprised if it isn't. If it isn't, that means we're using our own source or we're doing some weird shit to get it to build. Like downloading our own little library JPEG binary with the source and pretending it builds when it doesn't. I don't know. I can't imagine. There may be some legit way to do it, or a lot of backflips and tightrope walks to get it to work. Of course, you don't really want to be doing that. You want to actually, you don't want to be you can't work on the operating system and make better or create new ports if you have to micro manage the ports you have working to get them to work because of this, that, and this other exception, and this exception, and that exception. Oh, this one's older than that, and you gotta use this with that thing, and this will only compile with this thing, and when you get to that, you have to know so many damn rules of thumb that you can't grow, and maybe that's what's going on. You just want to get away from that stuff. You don't want to fork. You don't. It's not a fear. It's a practicality. You just don't want to fork. Having the source code for library USB and starting a fork is not good news. It's bad news. Unless, of course, you have the workforce to actually manage this. Then okay, it's good news. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying as a matter of practicality. We got to do what we got to do given the situation that we're in. I do understand that. But it's like it's good news to make the bad news less bad, basically, if you have to fork like that. Just found my stupid library. Lib-I. Okay, I've got too many libraries installed. All linked against non-standard libraries built into Haiku. Alright. I'm going to take mine out and see if I could play Beneath the Steel Sky. Something that's remotely entertaining. Here we go. Damn, it takes the fucking screen, man. Now I'm really going to be pissed off if this has been linked against the Haiku JPEG and I gotta rebuild this too. Okay, can we move on? It's quite an introduction. Not too good. How do we get out of this thing? It's a little bit. Ugh. How do we get out of this thing? Oh boy. I can't get out of this thing. How do I get in there? I can move around right now. Shit. Well, I gotta kill the virtual machine. Oh, look cool for a little bit there. Good night. Start up again. Return to my Scummvm build. Okay, well, hopefully... There's a little bit of a keyboard issue. There really is with a lot of these apps. I don't know what's going on. Is the keyboard POSIX compliant? Oh boy. Well, hopefully this won't take too long for me to get back to the build and see it complete. Good news is that it'll just start off where it was before. Might have a few extra bugs in there. But if it does, I'll be sure to upload it to Haiku. Alright. do it again. Now that didn't use an X window. That was just pure Mesa. And the only reason why that worked that way is because I'm using the Haiku Mesa. And we're starting up again. So probably don't want to play Beneath Steel Sky. But the good news is this is a really nice compatibility layer. I kind of wish it didn't take so much of the screen. And I wish the keyboard worked better. But, you know, some things can be done. Now, if you're wondering what version of Haiku I'm using, this is a nightly from around Halloween. This is the Halloween nightly. With the Halloween strings header missing. It might have actually been from Halloween. Trick or Treat. So Scummvm's kind of cool. Let's just start it. That's where I want my Scummvm. And I have no sound. And then the other thing about this is whatever's going on with this Mesa, at least the way it integrates with these other apps, it likes to resize my screen once in a while. You know, I'm not. Okay, now I'm going to try this. I'm going to show how this thing works in Syrian. Because at the time, okay? But first I have to change directories into where I have housed the Larry program, which happens to be in home DOSBox drive, LSL1. And when DOSEMU runs it, it runs in the same place. If you just run it without going into the directory, it just spits out jokes at you and pokes fun at you for not being in the right place, basically. So, actually, what I'm going to do this is picky about our caps, are we? Now I'll do boot home package. The only problem with Syrian IEN is that the keyboard doesn't really work. Or it works the first time, but it now does not work until I get my mouse to go over here. I've never played this game actually using the mouse to direct the objects. And type. But I can't go backspace. Oh, please. Just to be extra crazy, why not? Alright, there you are. 3 different ways to run the ukulele in Haiku. See, we have a very advanced operating system, I'll tell you. Now, where are we? Sword. And tangent. All this stuff still ready to go. I'm going to wait until this damn thing builds, and I'm going to see if I still have the unresolved symbol error. But if I keep the wrong library JPEG in my Pkgsrc library, oh, I better get rid of that. Hopefully I won't have half the package linked with one and half the package linked with another. Okay, there's the Haiku one. There's the real one. Call it a Lake JPEG platypus. Put it over here. Alright. Well, that was fun. I really wonder what else will run in Scummvm. A lot of things. That's pretty good performance. I'll give it that much. It's pretty good. That is very good. Very good open source work. How much more of this do I have to go? You know, I think I started the compilation, I went on vacation, and I came back. And it finished a couple days after I got back. So I'll be on here for a while, probably. And the engines are where? There they are. So I'm in the Tony, got the Tune, the Touche, the Tusage, the Tuker, the Toyer, the Z-Vision. And got the audio decoders. This is, I don't think it's even done this yet, has it? Nope. So I got all that stuff to do. So I got all the audio, so I got the back ends. All the back, so sit back. It's gonna be a while. So I don't know when Syrian last came out. I think right now they have Syrian online, and you can play those games like on a web-based interface. Which is kind of cool because we want to sit around compiling stuff, and they can just play stuff online. Now we're at the Tusage. We've got all the backends to do. We have the whole bases. Looks like it's had a run through already. Common hasn't. It's about exciting as a cricket match, I'll tell you. Then we have, yeah, it's 13 megs. And I do want to actually get on camera. If I actually have a solution, get it on camera. If I don't have a solution, I want to get it on camera. Because it's just important to know what's not going to work. Is to know what will work. Right? You don't want to waste time trying something you think might work. If someone else already knows it doesn't, gives the information, you save that time, you try something else. But the whole deal here is, I don't know how, maybe that's the only library in the thing. Mesa that's any different. But I'll find out. If I find out, I'll talk about it. Now, there's so many details in making an OS, and you're just happy you got the damn thing working. You're happy that you have 20, 30 people helping you out, working around the clock, slaving over code, and after you're done with all that, you're going to remember to go in and say, oh yeah, well, we made a different Mesa. Now, during the heat of the moment, are you going to say, well, let's not call it Mesa because of this stuff? Why? Because you have all this code you have to redo. So, I understand how things turned out. It's important to just have the information out. Even though I understand, it's still your fault. No, I'm not faulting any of it. I just wish it wasn't that way. Alright, so are we getting through Winter Mute? We have these damned engines yet? Winter Mute, we get Z Vision, whatever that is. So it looks like there's a lot of whatever these things are. Compatibility layers, wow. AGI, AGOS, CGE, SYN, I mean, God. How do they get so good? I mean, Jesus. Sega, that is interesting. Well, I never really actually owned a Sega. The people that have them, they liked them, so. Now, I was trying to build Vice for the Commodore, and I'm having some other issue going along. It's wanting to build FFmpeg 010, and it's got some assembly language in there. And half the time I come across assembly language, I could actually deal with it. I guess I could talk about this a little bit. And the secret to dealing with the assembly language that I found, and I got confirmation of this, it's mentioned it's one development mailing list email where someone mentions that EBX is not supported. The secret sauce, secret solution, when you come across when you're compiling something that has assembly language in it, and most of the time they're emulators, it'll say something like ASM has an impossible whatever it is. All you really have to, in some of the cases, at least the ones that I know how to solve, all you have to do is go to the bottom of all the assembly language stuff, and there'll be a little parentheses EBX between commas, and there'll be EBY or EBA or other stuff down there. You just get rid of the EBX and the comma, and it'll build. That's all there is to it. I was tearing my hair out over that for a while, and I just decided I'd just try that. Trial and error does work for me sometimes. A lot of determination, as the penguin would say. Alright, so we're going to get through this damn thing. booger. A winter meter. Okay. GUI, a chooser, a console. So we're now in the GUI stage. Ooey gooey, soft and gooey. Okay, so we get this. You can see little objects appear like magic. As the number of items increases without my moving my hands. There's nothing up my sleeves. You can see I'm wearing short sleeves. This is the compiler turning the text files with the .cpp and the .h into .os. And then when it's done doing that, it's going to turn all these things into one big file. And that's what a compiler does. And this stuff is actually made out of text. Oh my god. My program's made out of text? Why, yes it is. So now it's going to do all the back ends. Now it's going to do all the back ends. Which we're now in the saves and the timer. And the graphics. Now the events. And now the mixer. Now the mutex. And now the plugins. And now file system? Really? I don't think so. Well, maybe so. Now we're back to the engines. Gentlemen, start your engines. For some reason, we're back in the engines. Now we're going to the video. I think. Yeah, there's video. Okay, that might be. Might be getting close to the end here. I can test out and see whether putting that thing in the build link helps. But if it doesn't, then I gotta figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do. And that's no fun. I don't know how the hell this thing gets built out. What's this git thing? What's that? Alright, graphics. Fonts, scalar. These look like these are mostly done. Work our way down. Bump, bump. Kilobyte by kilobyte. Then we get the scalar, then we get the fonts. How many of these damn things we have? Now we get the image. And we got the codecs. God damn. Well, that's why it's big. I mean, you got some features going here, right? And the audio. Which has decoders, mods, and synthesizers, and there's 55 different synthesizers. Oh boy. That's probably going to be about 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to fall asleep. Wake me up when it's done. Compilation channel. You know what to watch. Compilations 24 hours a day. Yeah, I just wish some of this stuff was better known. Yeah. I won't. I'll hesitate from ranting more. I mean, it just doesn't. You really have called that something besides Mesa. Now we're in the soft synth area. If we got the mods, we've already done the decoders. How many damn things we have here? We might actually get to the linking stage fairly soon. Unless there's some hidden directory somewhere else. Common directory, of course, of course. How overzealous of me. So, there goes an hour. There goes, you know, I could have been compiling something or trying to compile something else, but instead I have to watch this. And I had to figure it out. I feel like I'm pretty sure I figured it out, but do I really know if I figured it out? No, not really. I mean, how to solve it? Are we done yet? It's like making a whole operating system. Okay. Oh, back to the soft synth. God damn it. Up. Might have a link coming. Alright, so I'm going to do make replace. Let's see if I got my unresolved symbol. Now, when it says installing, it's just actually populating a directory up here called desk directory. And then the contents of this ends up being zipped up. First, it checks the file list to make sure that everything's that was on the file list has actually been made and put in these folders right here. It creates its binary package. Bmake replace 13 megabytes, so it may take a little while. Data loss might occur. And then we'll see. Now, sometimes the bmake replace doesn't actually work. Didn't work with the X server. So I had to, because I was checking symbols and I saw the symbol didn't change. And I looked in desk directory and saw that it did change, and so I had to package delete and then package add. Now, I'm fully expecting and if I didn't change that back as far as my library JPEG, then I would have linked against the wrong library, unless of course it doesn't link from here, it links what's in the build link, but we'll see. Yeah, it was created on January 3rd, so yeah, it's the right one. And the here's my JPEG platypus here, was made August 2013, so okay. That's interesting. that's really interesting, actually, because it comes from a nightly build of October 31st, 2014. So there must be parts that we're not really building every night. We're just kind of slipping in there because we like it that way. So I'm actually going to look at the library directory and see which ones weren't built on that night and look for unusual things associated with those libraries. Because I bet you they weren't easy to make because they are unusual. Alright, bmake replace, hurry the frick up. The frack. The Caprica frack up. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see which one has So the only thing that was really, I got this. I probably downloaded this on October 21st, 2014. Or no, October 23rd. So really the only thing that was built on October 23rd are these items. The rest of these things were built on the 21st. Some go back to over a year prior, so it's not a completely fresh build. Okay, so we've done our remake. Let's try it. Ta-da! So I've solved the unresolved symbol. So basically, I need to build against my own stuff. If I don't build against my own stuff, I should expect that I'm going to get unresolved symbols. And in a change situation, which is what Haiku Porter is, as far as I know, if I don't know if it embeds a path in the executable when it builds, but if it ends up trying to go against some of the libraries that are in boot system library, but it was built against, or vice versa, and it was built against a library that's in a .self directory, then you can have a problem. You're going to get some unresolved symbols if the symbols change between versions. Still work? Alright. I just put my age as 1 so it'll kick me out and I'll be done. Alright, so that's my deal. So yeah, I'm pretty happy I got that built. But I am using Haiku's Mesa library for that. I'm not using the one that I built. Now, here's the deal. Here's another thing that can go wrong. So someone downloads my Scummvm, and they don't use the library JPEG that I built. They'll get unresolved symbols. Perhaps. I am pretty damn sure that I have. I'm going to look again and make sure the date of my I wasn't sure that was going to work. So now I know the importance of the build link. That kind of verifies. But let's see. Just going to make sure. I think I looked just a few minutes ago. I'm just going to make sure once again that my library JPEG is the same date. Somewhere in 2014. Actually, I did BMaker Place. Should be from today. So library. There we are. And then if I want to see which library JPEG it wants to use, it's looking at boot home package library. So that's another way to resolve an unresolved symbol. So you got to be careful. Two things can happen. Just to review. The library, if you link against a library that comes with Haiku, you may be linking against a library that really is the same animal as what the package wants. I know that's true of Mesa It may be true of other things. It may not. I don't know. The second thing is, even between versions of a library, different symbols can appear and be removed. So a binary is going to want, basically going to want to run against, for the most part, the same library that it was built with. However, sometimes if you only have an older library sitting around, you may as well try to see if you can get a binary to run by getting it to just renumber the library so it'll try to read that particular one. Sometimes it works. I know it was important using WordPerfect, so I'm pretty happy with that Scummvm, actually. I really am. Alright, that's it.